everybody, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to 31 Days of Tarot. Today is day 16 and I'm recording this on day 17, so it's gonna be late. But hopefully you'll have it by day 18. You'll probably be seeing my day 16, 17, and 18 all going up around the same time because I'm getting caught up. I'm a little bit behind, but today's prompt is actually about deal breaker cards. So these are the cards that one would typically look at the deck, like look at a new deck or look at a deck you want to get, and these are the cards that you really want to like in order to gel with the deck. Like some others have said, these are not always a deal breaker. It's kind of case by case. I like to love these cards, and when I don't, I have to think a lot harder about the deck. But there's a few little things that might be deal breakers. But I've pulled some decks out and some samples so I can kind of show you some of the ones that I like, or just I've kind of pulled randomly, so I didn't necessarily pull my absolute favorites ever. Some of them might be, but anyways, I'm babbling because I'm out of my groove. Anyways, so with that said, don't forget that I do have a link to Ethany's video with all of the prompts down below if you want to check these out and participate. I know some people are participating on Instagram, some people are just commenting on the videos with their answers, some people are making videos, some people are posting on blogs, so however you want to participate, I just think it's really fun to get to know other people's tastes and what we're into, so yeah, let's get right into it. So the main two major arcana that I always look like have to do with what my birth card is. So my birth cards are Strength and the Star. And so actually before I knew that these were my birth cards, they were still among my favorites to check for. But Strength for me is definitely a big one. And I really prefer to see Gentle Strength here. Now, I didn't bring this as to show as an example. I should have. That would have been smart. But the one deck that the Strength card actually ruined the entire deck for me was the new Mythic. So I had picked up the new Mythic thinking, I love Greek myth. I want to dive into the Mythic Tarot. That sounds really cool. Picked up the current version of it thinking, I don't need to be buying no out-of-print decks, right? And I flipped through the cards, and the new Mythic's version of Strength, just Google it, like if you want to see it, but it's very forceful, and the old version is a bit forceful too, but the new one just felt really icky for some reason, and it was a deal breaker in that particular case. But I'm not holding that one. I'm holding the Fountain Tarot, which is actually one that I really love. There's so much, I love how big the lion feels in this image and how gentle the interaction here is between the two figures. So love this in the Fountain Tarot. But yeah, that new Mythic one was a deal breaker, and I literally flipped through the deck, and as soon as I saw that, I didn't like a lot of the other images too, to be fair, but that one, it was done. I was like, no, can't do. The Star, I just really want the Star to give me that feeling of peace and calm and healing that I associate with the Star. This one totally does it, although I'll admit there's something about this image that really just kind of looks like a stripper pole to me. But I get that she is dancing on a ray of the Star, or sort of holding on to and swirling around a ray of the Star. And so I usually, after I have that little double take, whenever I pull this card, remind myself. But it isn't my favorite image for that reason, because it's distracting to see it as a stripper pole. I'm just saying. But I do think that the image in general is really, really pretty. And it still gives me that feeling, you know? I just have to get past that initial moment of like, what is that I'm looking at again? The other cards all come from the Cups suit. And I'm really, 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 I really love the Cup suit. I'm a water baby. I am a Cancer sun sign, and I have to like the cups. But there are 4 cards in the Cup suit specifically, which is a lot, I realize. But I can't say the whole deck, like the whole suit, because that's not fair either. But I almost always look to these, and they are the Two of Cups, which to the Two of Cups to me is just that perfect romantic card. The Lovers has a lot more to it than just this connection. The Lovers is about choice, and it can be a little more complicated, but the Two of Cups to me always feels very pure, and I love this one from the Fountain Tarot. Love it. The Nine of Cups. The Rider-Waite-Smith version, the dude with all his cups behind him being all sort of smuggy happy, is not my favorite. This takes a slight departure from that image, and I do really, really enjoy this, but I'll admit my favorite Nine of Cups are the not-so-masculine ones. And I think it's because I see the Nine of Cups as that comfort, contentment, happy, but not necessarily goofy happy card. I see the Ten of Cups as more that goofy happy card, but I do really kind of like this. He's happy and in a jovial way, but not in a smug way. So I like that one. And then the court cards, the Page of Cups, because I really associate this with me most of the time, which is going to come up in a prompt again shortly here. And then the Queen of Cups. I might just mash, you know what, I think I'm going to mash days 16 to 18 all into this video because, yeah, these are the two cards that I most associate with myself, which is actually prompt 18, so just consider that one checked off. The Page of Cups is sort of me most of the time, and then the Queen of Cups I see as me when I really step into my embodiment, when I really step into my sovereignty, which is when I'm at my best, and my most sort of confident and whatever. So Page of Cups sort of day to day, the usual me, slightly naive, you know, but when I'm really being mindful and I'm at my best, definitely Queen of Cups, and I love both of these images. I like my pages to look like dreamers. Wistful and kind of easily drifting off into la la land. That's what I like to see in my pages. And I like my queens to just seem composed but sensitive. And I love how she's actually wading in the water here. It just makes me happy. So I really love the ones from the Fountain Tarot. That was a lot just to talk about the Fountain Tarot, but yes. So that answers that question from prompt 18. But let me show you a few others from a couple of other decks so you can kind of see some different versions. So here is Strength from the Everyday Enchantment Tarot, and I love this. It's happy and it's powerful, but it's also not forceful, which again, I really like. I really like this idea of drawing up those inner reserves of strength that I think I see here. So I like that one a lot. I love the Star from Everyday Enchantment, this whole getting help out of the rubble, rather. The star is on this girl's shirt, and she's representing that person who's reaching out that helping hand after this horrible incident. And this ties directly into the Tower from this same deck, and I really like the continuity that I see there. And you can still see the stars in the actual background, that blue sky, and you kind of just know everything's going to be okay now. And I like that. The Two of Cups I love from this deck because it shows so many different types of relationships. So just right away you can see two people in the foreground. You can see a child and a dog in the sort of middle background. And then a couple, looks like two women in the background. So and you can imagine, and then there's also even a couple, like an elderly couple over here. And you can imagine what these different types of relationships can be, but they all seem special in their own way. And I really love that. And then the Nine of Cups here. This is actually more almost Four of Wandsy to me. I get that there's that sort of contentment and happiness and things are good, but it's a little more extroverted than I like to see my Nine of Cups. Page of Cups, you definitely get that I'm going to go run and show these pictures and they're going to be loved and I'm going to be loved and accepted kind of naivety that I like to see in the Page of Cups, that sort of, that faithfulness in people that I like to see. And the Queen of Cups here just seems really nurturing and caring and like a good listener. And I just really like that too. So that's the Everyday Enchantments. Or Everyday Enchantment. I can never remember if it's singular or plural. And I don't have the book here to check. But it's one of those. Everyday Enchantment or Everyday Enchantments. I know that the artist is Poppy Palin. I'm going to show those same deal breaker cards from my textured tarot too. I love this deck. This is definitely in my top 5, and it doesn't have necessarily my very favorite versions of these cards, but the majors hit it pretty spot on. Love Strength. She just looks so composed and gentle, and the lion still shows its ferocity, which I don't mind. I just don't want to see her physically overpowering him, so to speak. The Star, so peaceful. It just looks like a garden where you could heal and sort of recover. I love that. Not my favorite ever Two of Cups. It just doesn't have enough in it for me. But I get what I need from it. It's fine. It's fine, but it's not, and it wasn't a deal breaker for the deck, obviously, because this is in my top 5. But I wish there was a little more to it. I do like that you could see connections in any variety of these people. And it's kind of neat in a way because I could also see this addressing polyamorous relationships, which would be kind of cool if you're reading for a polyamorous client to have multiple people in the Two of Cups. Same thing as with the Two of Cups in the Everyday Enchantment Tarot. So I singularized it that time. And then the Nine of Cups from the Textured Tarot. Totally cliche and so straightforward. It's the cat that got the cream. This cat is super content. It's got everything it needs and it wants. But it does have that element of smugness. I get what I need from this card. I think it's super cute. It's not my favorite, mostly because, and I think it just feels out of sync with a lot of the rest of the artwork. It's a little more collage-y with less blendingness, I guess is the best way to put it. But it gets the message across so clearly that I can't not like it. It's not my absolute favorite, but I do like it. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. The Page of Cups, I love in this deck. I love that the courts, or at least the Page and the Queen in this deck, are both underwater. I just think that's so cool. And I'm such a water baby. This just looks like my happy place to me. I love it. And same thing with the Queen of Cups, only the Queen of Cups looks like she's got stuff she's going to get done under there, which I love. I love that she looks confident and she has some motion to her as if she's literally making things happen. And I love that because I do see the queens as more dynamic forces. Not as dynamic as a knight or a king. Well, maybe not as dynamic as a knight. But equivalent to the king in the sense that I see them very composed and sort of at sort of the peak of their suit and having learned those lessons. And I like that. The last one I'm going to show does have I think I could say it's not one of, I think I could probably say it's my favorite Page of Cups ever. I'm trying to remember the other ones to see if they're favorites, but I do love this entire deck. This is probably also right now in my top 5. Just generally decks. Strength, I love this. I just love it. It's everything I want and need in a strength card. No complaints. Also love the Star. Same thing. It just ticks all the boxes. And most of the cards in this deck actually tick all the boxes that I really feel like I want or need. But yeah. The Two of Cups is good. Could be better. Not my favorite. One thing I will say is one thing I really like to see in a Two of Cups is a sense that nobody is more powerful or more dominant in that situation than the other person. I like to see that equivalent energy, both parties putting in as much as they're taking out of the situation. I really like to see that in my twos. The Nine of Cups I enjoy. Again, not my absolute favorite ever, but I do enjoy this one. And again, I think I like more feminine Nine of Cups. Here's the Page of Cups I was raving about. The way that I see how a Page of Cups views the world is perfectly illustrated here. Just possibility and positivity, and there's something about this. It makes me feel things in a really, really good way. And the Queen of Cups here. She's okay. I do like the kind of vintage look of the queens in this deck in general. This gets the message across. But yeah, I would say the winners in here would be definitely Strength, the Star, and definitely the Page of Cups. Whew, this deck is so beautiful. So that is it for those. So since I've kind of covered day 16 now, and I've covered day 18, let's talk about day 17. So day 17's prompt was about sort of how we like to tarot journal. I've got to get one that's slightly out of reach. Sorry if you can see my bum. Okay, so this year, and I talked about this in my video about my bullet journal to Book of Shadows video where I talked about my planning system sort of for 2019, but I'm going to go over it really quickly, and I'll try to remember to link that video in the cards if I remember to watch this back. We'll see. But I have now a sort of perma tarot journal that is meant not to log my pulls and my practice spreads or my client readings or anything like that, but this is meant to log my permanent sort of tarot notes. So what I have in here is I have like my own personal numerology that was based on my study with the Tarot de Marseille and Tarot on Earth. All of that is here. As well as my notes on the elements and like how I see them with room to fill in more information. Then I have keywords for all of the tarot cards. So I have majors, minors, all the way through that I have logged in here. I also have my Lenormand keywords. I have a couple pages here for 3-card spreads that I'm going to fill up really soon and have to do another one later in the book. And then I also have one for 4-card spreads. And then any spreads that I've either created or that I am working with regularly and really want to be able to refer to easily, whether I'm using these for, a lot of these I use for client readings. And then some, like a couple I've recently added from the Druidcraft Tarot, these two here. and I've got a couple more in my notes to add. So this I'm just going to keep building with. So this is where I log that kind of stuff. But when it comes to my daily pulls, I'm putting that in my planner for the year. So I'm using the planner for the Coloring Book of Shadows planner. I haven't done a lot of coloring in this, to be honest. I haven't had a lot of time so far this year, in spite of that being one of my goals for depth year. But I have colored the intro page, woo, go me, and I have plans to, we'll see if I do this, at each Sabbath color in just the little section from the Wheel of the Year related to that Sabbath. So I have plans to do that. I don't know if I will. We'll see. Sorry, I'm getting off track. Let's get back to tarot for a second. So what I do in here is in the weekly planner planner pages. So it's got like a week per page throughout. So this is what the weekly pages look like. So this is a week here. So I bullet journal in these little sections, and then, but I save the very bottom line for what my tarot and my oracle card pull of the day was. So I'll write, sometimes for oracle it's like a keyword or a phrase, so I'll put that in here and I'll put what the tarot card was. And then also, inspired by some of you guys out there who are doing, who did, I believe, Jessica the Story Witch's bullet journal, like witchy bullet journal series, a bunch of you have a single page in your bullet journal where you're logging in like one grid all your card pulls for the year, which I thought was really cool, but I don't want to revert to a bullet journal. However, I took inspiration from that, and in my yearly year at a glance section of my planner, I have created a little key. So I've got colors for I've got purple for majors, green for pentacles, yellow for swords, red for wands, blue for cups, and this little key up here. And all I'm doing is writing the number or the Roman numeral. And if it's a court card, it's K for king, Q for queen, N for knight, or P for page. And I'm coloring in each day what I've drawn for that day when I've done a daily draw. So that's what it looks like so far for January. And I really like the idea of, once this is all filled in, being able to get that idea of like, what did I pull at different times in the year, or what were my stalker cards, or all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited to be able to have it in a short form here. So thank you to those of you who showed that grid on your bullet journal, because it totally inspired me to convert that page. So yeah, that's how I'm doing my notating that way. I also, let's see, I didn't pull any of this within reach, and I just totally kicked the camera, so bear with me. Reach over here. I've also printed out Ethany's Tarot by the Moon 2019. So I used this most of last year as well. And in this, she has a spread for each of the moons, so each full moon and each new moon for the entire year. So I printed it in sort of booklet size and then stapled it. And so I'm just putting notes right on it for what I'm doing. So this is where I'm working with that. That way I can use it for the year, have it to kind of keep track of stuff, but I don't have to keep this, because I know I will never look back at this except maybe at the end of the year, and then I'll be done with it. So that is kind of what I'm using this year for my planning. So that was day 16, 17, and 18 of 31 Days of Tarot. I will see you all in my next one. Have a great night all. Bye.